Reading. Okay, it says I'm live. I know I don't look that great. Uh, I want to talk, and I'll save this. You will probably look at this recorded. It's 5:49 p.m. in the central U.S. where I am, and I wanted to cover some news today. The SARS-like virus. It's okay. My mic is a little low. I'm hoping the mic works. All right. Uh, it's reminding me when I covered an Ebola outbreak on here. I was coming on every day for a few minutes. Uh, China is not like Central Western Africa and the Congo and what forth. Ebola is named for the Ebola River. They have a different infrastructure. They say 5 million left Wuhan, although it's quarantined. 23 million. A disclaimer, everything here is based on my perception and my latest info. It's subject to correction and error. It's tough to get 100%. One fellow will wait a week and get it exact, but then it won't be exact or current. It's reminding me of that and people saying it was engineered, and then it seems to end. This Nyman fellow, he was asked by Rents when one of the Ebola outbreaks stopped. He just said that was the nature of it. This outbreak has reminded me of that. Now there's reported cases in places like Israel, Scotland, Canada, the U.S. It's in Sweden. They said it didn't matter if you came from Wuhan and China, and there are some comments about that. But we'll wait and see what develops. It's a pandemic because of the high mortality rate. We're only looking at about 100 cases. Either they died or they got better. And it's almost half mortality or fatality. So I'm going to leave that one. The Kobe Bryant, I wondered who was on the plane, the helicopter with him. My father used to say helicopter. But yeah, it turns out his daughter was on there, reportedly. So it's a little bigger story than what you might be hearing. I'm showing one person, but that might be me. But unlike usually when it says one, it really is one. So, but I'm going to save this anyway. Uh, so, talking about that just a little bit. As a previous Celtics fan, we weren't fans of the Lakers. At one time, they were real contenders at the top, rivals. Uh, some things happened to the Celtics in the 80s with the draft choices, and they really became a weak team for a while after that, despite all the championships. What is it, 17 championships? Not sure. And I tweeted about some of that. All these things I will tweet about. The next kind of is the weather and the global warming. I'm feeling a little better. I was myself for a couple of days, but really not so for weeks before that. We had below zero 3 mornings. Actual temperature Fahrenheit, not counting wind chill. There's single digits, albeit, but still, I was worried about pipes freezing. And then we had 3 days of moderate snow, and a plow came from a wrong angle and plowed in with a full load of snow from across the street, which was pushed in from the across the street from there because of a commercial building which they were taking care of, and completely covered up my sidewalk, which is next to a hydrant they put in. Like 2 feet away from the sidewalk is the hydrant, 2 or 3 feet. And he put his whole load of snow on there. And literally that made me ill trying to keep up with. I could shovel up to 4 driveways, and I did one. One is in good shape. But I see why the front is dug down into the dirt. Because one time the plow came and dug up some big rocks in the garden that are on the edge of the property. They're not even right on the street, but he dug up about 9 rocks and scattered them around. A different guy. So this is affecting my health. About all the deaths, other deaths, still, Roxette, I found that a number of these female singers are part Swedish, which I liked, and I'm supposed to be part Swedish. It doesn't really surprise me. A high school classmate died about Wednesday last week. I'm going to start getting a death from there every week or two over the next 10 years. And this bump you see is not cancer, but it actually looks a lot better. It really looked horrific one morning a couple of weeks ago. And going on, I tried to use a different camera here. They wouldn't hook it up. So much for this computer's crap working properly. I should have seen it right away. Not fooled around with a driver. Should have used a standard camera driver on the machine. Bad machine, Steve. Next, well, John, who died last week in high school, and then this Frank from North Carolina. I don't know him personally. I've talked to him about Twitter a few times. He's the only caller I really want to. Okay, my mouse is failing here. He's about the only caller I want to listen to anymore. Frank from North Carolina. He called in a voice like Bob Chapman before he died at 76, same age as my father. And before the state trooper from Kansas called in, and the way he used to speak, who died, he was on Steve Quayle shows and networks. And I haven't thought of his name, but I always had trouble remembering his name. I remember even way back 3 years ago, but that's how Frank sounded, and he said, "I'm all done, and I'm in IC." So that didn't sound good. I don't even know if he's alive a day later. I got an indication that he might not make it from just serendipity. But he was ridiculed by Alex Jones. Alex Jones is full of crap. He says things he knows are false. So how can you really trust anything he says? And on the other hand, Mike Adams has some scratching my ear. Mike Adams, I have some respect for him. He said his website was shut down by a secret court. We're in deep trouble with these secret courts, and if they can go after a president for nothing, they can go after anybody. And reportedly, like this Dean Henderson on the radio, another radio personality, said a bank account was closed or locked. It didn't sound like he could access his own money. This is what happens on PayPal. I don't want to use PayPal. I've never hardly used it. A couple of years ago, I bought something on the satellite. It's really inexpensive, and you pay through PayPal, but I mean, it just went through. But I don't want to have a PayPal account. I don't want to have eBay. eBay steals your. I bought one thing from them in 20 years, and they stole my credit card number immediately. And then the credit card company lied about it 3 times, but it was them that did it. Am I saying it right? Not eBay, Amazon. But eBay I don't use. I would use eBay in if eBay was up the road and I could go in the store and buy stuff or maybe even order, I don't know, I would use them a lot, but I'm really reluctant. I've looked at them and thought of buying some collectibles, not very expensive ones, but I haven't even done that. But Amazon is the one I mean. And you see, I got a lot of things on the top of my head. And I mentioned the Bill Russell retirement on my Twitter. And I mentioned some other things. And I'm not feeling quite right. I might stop this and I might continue later. Uh, Thinking about the various news, the global warming nonsense, this Prince poop from the, Farron calls it not so great kingdom or not so great Britain, he says. But it's just ridiculous nonsense they keep feeding us. They all got all these different ways to get trillions of dollars, hoaxes. Uh, Nick Mavroulas, whom I knew, a congressman, right? And if anybody from high school or some of my relatives are watching, you know who that is. But he was our mayor, and then he became a powerful U.S. congressman. And he was a Democrat, not a Republican. But he angered somebody, some crook. And he did 2 years in prison for getting a $5,000 discount on a used car. These Bite Me people, family, the Bite Me family with billions they're stealing. And these top level Democrats, they make billions, half a billion, billions from all the money from they stole. And then collectively, the Fed and the Congress and the government stole trillions and tens of trillions. And the congressman went to jail for $5,000. Just it wasn't even a payola, it was a discount. Which I don't even know. If Biden Bite Me, I mean, I don't want to say the real name because I'll get punished. If the Bite Me family looted 10 billion, well, that's probably okay. That's nothing. Just the way things are done. And Trump is a fool killing a peacemaker, the freedom fighter. I tweeted him. I'm not on his good list. I tweeted him a few really nasty tweets now. I was supporting him. I made an effort at my own cost on the internet, the stuff I did. It's a waste. Worked against me, worked against myself. But I mean, the nonsense with Schiff and his ethnic brethren, it's just all that nonsense on the impeachment. And this Frank would, besides calling up the bullhorn bitch and having a famous commercial, besides that, he would talk to Farron. Farron was demoted to a couple of hours Saturday morning. That's the last show I listened to religiously. I don't care for his male and female sit-ins. I don't want to hear them. I just don't. I don't agree. Sometimes I agree with a person, and I just listening to them is like watching the grass grow. I just can't stand it. It has to be shut off. Other times I don't agree with much of anything. But his clips and his fill-ins, and then this talking about Mike Rovero, he's gone for 6 weeks. The same few shows over and over again, I guess, from 6 weeks ago. And someone like Michael Collins Piper. Michael Collins Piper was just about dying with a bad heart. He died 2 or 3 years later. He got booted off unceremoniously from the network. So I don't see any of the networks doing well. I don't see them putting forth. It's really I believe in God, and I look to the end, and it's just rougher roads. And I mean, part of me keeps going, and then part of me doesn't care because it's been the same crap since I was 3 years old. Now I'm going to be 62, and I'm going to stop this and try to save it. Bye for now.